I had to really compose myself telling the story yesterday, but the story must go on. Here we go. While Abaya Mama was calling out for Jesus, I'm holding Abaya and she's bleeding from the neck, gargling, and she put her hand on my face and told me she loved me. She told me she loved me, and she rubbed my lips. And of course, during this time, I'm screaming for help. Did I feel my body get flung to the side? And when I got flung to the side, I looked up. When I looked up, and I see it's her father in his work clothes. I guess he had come home from lunch or something. I don't know. And he's screaming and hollering, and cussing, and he has Abaya in his arms, and he's crying, and she's bleeding, and she was already gone already. Cops, paramedics, all that stuff came, and her father cussing me out. Her mom was saying it's not my fault. Turns out Abaya was shot 5 times. She was shot in the neck. She was shot in the shoulder, and a few times in the torso. I had to do my report. Told him everything, and I left, and seemed like my world crumbled around me. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to box. I didn't want to train. Didn't want to do anything. I was depressed. My homeboys were pissed. They were mad. They was extremely angry, actually. They want to handle some business. Butch hit me up and said I had a fight, but I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't mentally ready for it. So I didn't even take it. A couple of weeks passed. I'm still selling weed and crack and looking for Ron, actually, and trying to keep money to keep food in the house too. Spoke to her by his mama and kept apologizing to her, and she said it wasn't my fault. Her dad hated my guts. You know, the police was looking for Ron and his crew, and he was nowhere to be found, but had a serious breakthrough for a moment. My homeboy was dating this chick out in University Park, and she had a friend, and he wanted to introduce me, but I wasn't trying to meet nobody. Seemed like since Abaya was gone, a lot of women was trying to holler at me. I wasn't really feeling it, sorta. There was this one young lady, name was Karen, that I was digging a little bit, but, you know, she kind of reminded me of Abaya a little bit. I was digging her, Karen, but, you know, things didn't flow that direction. Plus, I was still hurt. And the chick that my homeboy was dating out in University Park knew another chick that knew of Ron's whereabouts. So I was like, give me the 411. He was like, Ron was bragging on how he shot up, you know, Abaya and how he's going to get me. And he said that Ron is talking to the chick that his girl know. And he's been bragging like crazy. I was like, oh, really? So I was like, all right, well, let's converse about it. Let's see if this is some realness to it. And it turned out it was true. So my cousin and my homeboy and my friends, you know, talked to the chick that Ron was talking to, and they set some shit up. And a couple of days later, well, I just say this. Ron is not here anymore, and that's all I'm going to say about that. And my conscience is free because I didn't do anything. But the hint is in the previous picture. Anyway, life goes on. I'm still fucked up in the head about Abaya not being here anymore. But I had to train. I had to get myself back in gear, training again, training a little bit more harder, jogging, and I'm passing this house every day, and this young lady sitting on the porch. So one day I decided to stop and holler at her, and find out her name was Lisa, and, you know, her parents were super strict, so she really didn't want to talk to me. Well, she wanted to talk to me, but she didn't want to get in trouble, because her parents are super strict. And this just started reminding me again of the Abaya situation, sort of. So another time my job passed our house, I, got her information, her number, and she got my number, and, I went back to training. I don't have any fights set up, so Lisa and I, we talking on the phone, and um, this is Lisa number one, too. I'm going to let y'all know that, Lisa number one. She was defiant to her family and told me to come over and snuck over to her crib and snuck in through her window. Sometimes I sneak in through the front door, and we do the do. I know one time I was over at her crib and I'm in her room and her mom came into her room and I'm in her closet while her mom trying to investigate. I was nervous as shit in her closet too, actually. But after her mom finished investigating and looking at everything, I snuck out her window and went back home. Actually, Lisa used to skip school. She was a senior in high school, and she'd skip school and come to my house, and she'll come to my house with my cousin and my homeboys over. We playing Sega Genesis, and she'll come by and I entertain her. And one day, her parents came to my house and said, "Stop talking to my daughter, or I'm gonna press charges and these and that, and these and those, whatever the case may be." And that was the last time I ever talked to her, and that was it. I am 20 years old, about to be 21 later during the year, and yeah, it was quite interesting. So I had to focus on training again, and there was this big tournament coming up, and Butch was telling me about this tournament, so I'm focusing on training hard again. So as I'm training in the gym and was swimming, playing basketball, and running, and my pictures and my cousin pictures throughout the gym, and um, a group of girls used to come down to the gym and watch us train. I have no shirt on and my shorts, just training, hitting the, heavy bag and shadow boxing and stuff. And, the girls will giggle and laugh at the door watching me and my cousins and everybody doing our thing down there. And, I go and entertain them. My coach would be like, "Get back on the," Butch would be like, "Get back on the bag." And, I got to get back on the bag. And, it is what it is. And I go home and find out the house is burned down. The house was like I guess my dad was fucking up on his mortgage or whatever, and he still had the crackheads over, and the house was literally burning down when I went to it. So I didn't have nowhere to stay. So I ended up staying with my cousin, I believe, with one of my play cousins, and I don't know where Dad stayed at, but I was dealing with that. My dad ended up finding a place on 104th out there in the east, and it was cool. And actually, my trainer Butch, he lived not too far from there too, so that was funny. So I'm at the gym and these girls coming down looking at me again. So I look at Butch. He's working with my cousin, Machine Gun. And I went over there and started talking to one of the girls. Her name was Lisa. This is Lisa number two. And she was beautiful, hazel eyes, big breasts, nice body. So Lisa and I started talking, and Butch told me to stop talking to her, but I'm still talking to her. And turned out she had some issues at home. She was a senior in high school as well. She went to Corliss, and I'm living on 104th, and she was going through some issues, so she used to come by my house. Well, Lisa come by the house all the time, and I'm having sex with her. She's cooking, cleaning, and washing clothes, washing my dad's clothes, doing a lot of stuff. I'm like, wow. I'm thinking, is she a replacement for a buyer? I didn't know, but it felt like it. It felt genuine. I don't know, but it was interesting. So I ended up fighting in that tournament, the CYO, the Christian Youth Organization. Fought in the tournament, made it all the way to the championship, and lost. Bad thing about it, my family came to that fight. It was my grandma, grandpa, uncles, cousins, all of them. They was all at the fight, and I lost the championship stupidly. So after I lost that, my second loss, I didn't know how to take it. So I stopped training and just started dealing with Lisa. And Butch calling, and one Butch was like, "Why I'm not coming to the gym?" I was kind of salty because I lost the title. Plus, I'm enjoying the replacement of Baya, Lisa. I think my record now was like 43-2 or something like that, or 44-2. Can't remember, but yeah, I think it was like 44-2 now. Butch told me to stop hanging with Lisa because she's from the hood. I don't need to be hollering at her. She's distracting me. He said she's gonna be the downfall of my career. Of course, I'm still talking to Lisa, and I'm getting a couple of fights, and on these couple of fights, I'm losing. think I lost 2 more fights, and Butch gave me an ultimatum and said, look, I either leave her or he's going to be gone because he's not tolerating me losing stupid fights. So I told Lisa she needed to go back home to her parents, and I had to focus on my career because I'm being distracted and I can't lose my coach. Now, coach got me in another tournament. It's the ABFs. So I get into the tournament, the ABFs, I do my thing, and I make it to the title of the ABFs, and I meet my soon-to-be nemesis, Sheldon. And we fought, and I got rocked. Then I meet Sheldon again in just another pickup fight, I guess, and we fought, and we fought hard, and I got beat by him again. Not making any excuses or anything, but I was messing with Lisa again and fighting Sheldon. You know, I wasn't myself, I guess, and I lost. Butch asked me if I was messing with Lisa, and I told him yeah, and he said, look, she's a major distraction. He said he's not dealing with me losing these fights that I'm supposed to be winning, so he left me. Now I've become a journeyman. I don't have Butch. People trying to want me to come in and camp. I don't trust them. Only one I trust is Butch. I'm calling Butch, and Butch don't want to work with me. He said I'm hard-headed. I guess he was trying to teach me a lesson. So, my father got kicked out of that house on 104th, and I didn't know what to do. So I don't know what happened after that, but I know I went back down south. I moved down to Columbus, Georgia, and lived with my cousin down there, and it was interesting. Found a trainer down in Columbus. I don't remember his name either. It was some skinny white guy, and he liked my style. We worked out and everything. He got me sparring these boys, and I'm beating up all these boys he got down there in his gym. I mean, beating them up. They didn't know nothing about boxing. He was promising me a lot of fights and wasn't getting them. And there was this games coming up called Georgia State games. They were coming up, and I had to jump. So I packed up, left my cousin, and went to Atlanta, and I stayed in this little shelter. I really wanted to fight in the Georgia State game, so I had to have a trainer to get in it, and I had to beg this one guy, and he put me on this team. So I ended up fighting in the Georgia State games, under this team. I don't remember the coach, the guy, anything, but they really liked me, and I made it all the way to the championship. And I got beat in the championship and got a silver medal out of it. And I thanked the trainer, and he said he was going to take me under his wings, but my mission is to go back to Butch. I called Butch, told him I won a silver medal in the Georgia State games. He seemed like he was happy, but he wasn't impressed, and that got me down a little bit. But, without Butch, I felt kind of lost, so I stepped away from boxing for a little bit. Had to get my life together, so I went back to Eufaula. So I stepped away from boxing. My record, I think, by now is like 50-9 or something like that. It's crazy, I know. I asked my mom, can I stay with her for a little bit? I did. I gave her my silver medal, and my little brother was happy, and I really had to get my life together, so I ended up going to Job Corps again. This time I went to Job Corps in Gaston, Alabama, and this was the transition of my life.